Welcome back to Flourish. I'm Diane Planet Ann, and you're in the right place if you're ready to create an inspired life. And we do so by working on our own personal development, so we can be strong role models for those we love and mentor, and strong for our own personal well-being. As you're building your empire and going through this book with me called Atomic Habits by James Clear, we review some ideas, some strategies, and today is the beginning of the second law. The second law on how to create a good habit is to make it attractive. So we started out this journey understanding cues. Now we need to understand cravings. That's all encompassing, because then the third and the fourth is the response and reward. So stick with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss one episode. I do not read this book verbatim. I'm reviewing each chapter because it really has to sink in. And actually, I've read this book 3-4 times. So no, it's a luxury to make time to read. So if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app or watching it on YouTube, welcome. They're on a journey together. You are not alone in your quest to live a more inspired life. So the second law, make it attractive. He says, to do this, we might start by understanding what a craving is and how it works. We begin by examining a biological signature that all habits share, the dopamine spike. Yes. For years, scientists assumed dopamine was all about pleasure, but now we know it plays a central role in many neurological processes, including motivation, learning, and memory, punishment, and aversion, and voluntary movement. When it comes to habits, the key takeaway is this: dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. Gambling addicts have a dopamine spike right before they place a bet, not after they win. Cocaine addicts get a surge of dopamine when they see the powder, not after they take it. Whenever you predict that an opportunity will be rewarding, your levels of dopamine spike in anticipation. And whenever dopamine rises, so does your motivation to act. It is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. Wow. The anticipation. It's all about the anticipation. It's making me wait, right? Interestingly, the reward system that is activated in the brain when you receive a reward is the same system that is activated when you anticipate a reward. This is one reason the anticipation of an experience can also feel better than the attainment of it. As a child, thinking about Christmas morning can be better than opening the gifts. As an adult, daydreaming about an upcoming vacation can be more enjoyable than actually being on vacation. Scientists refer to this as the difference between wanting and liking. Think about that. Think about how many times you've gone on vacation, maybe went camping, you were so excited, got organized, got everything done in order to get to your destination. Let's take camping, for example, and then it rains all weekend. That's what he's talking about. That feeling, that pre-event feeling, that's dopamine. And hey, sometimes it turns out different. Sometimes it's even a better experience than you were anticipating, right? So you have to go with that. And he does mention at the beginning of this chapter the cortisol effect on the brain as well. So if you're feeling stressed and anxious, and this is specifically really hard on children. So I know it's back to school, and if you're a teacher and you're listening to this, think about it. If you have a student that's really struggling to focus and learn, they might be stressing. They're not excited about going to school because of what's happening at home. Just giving you a for instance. So all of these different chemicals in our brains push buttons, but the dopamine one and how marketers use that to get us to buy more stuff, it's incredible. He says your brain has far more neural circuitry allocated for wanting rewards than for liking them. Wanting is a motivation, right? The wanting centers in the brain are large, and he gives quite a few examples here, but think brainstem, think prefrontal cortex, the amygdala. By comparison, he says, the liking centers of the brain are smaller. They are often referred to as the hedonic hotspots and are distributed like tiny islands throughout the brain. This is fascinating. The fact that the brain allocates so much precious space to the regions responsible for craving and desire provides further evidence of the crucial role these processes play. Desire is the engine that drives behavior. Desire, I'm going to say that again, is the engine that drives behavior. Every action is taken because of the anticipation that precedes it. It is the craving that leads to the response. These insights reveal the importance of the second law of behavior change. We need to make our habits attractive because it is the expectation of a rewarding experience that motivates us to act in the first place. This is where a strategy known as temptation bundling comes into play. So that was a good precursor to actually knowing why this is so important and knowing and understanding and learning about how amazing us humans are and how amazing our brains are. That's actually quite fascinating. So, what is this temptation bundling? How are we going to use it? Well, he says temptation bundling works by linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. You're more likely to find a behavior attractive if you get to do one of your favorite things at the same time. And he gives quite a few examples in the book here, but he says, like, let's say you gotta get caught up on your emails, but you'd really rather just go for a pedicure. Bring your phone while you're having your pedicure, which is what you really want to do. Clean up your email inbox. Some people might call that multitasking. It's just good time management. And this is actually a psychological theory known as Premack's principle. The principle states that more probable behaviors will reinforce less probable behaviors. In other words, even if you don't really want to process overdue work emails, you'll become conditioned to do it if it means you get to do something you really want to do along the way. And he gives the example of BJ Fogg's book on tiny habits, on habit stacking. We talked about that earlier in the book, and combining it with this temptation bundling. So, one thing that's sometimes really hard to do is if you need to pick up the phone, have a difficult conversation, maybe ask for business, maybe ask for a referral, maybe just ask for anything, right? Well, push past that and say, after I've made 3 phone calls, I'm going to reward myself with fill in the blank. And it's these little habits, little habits, little habits that you start building in order to get where you want. And he goes on to say, the hope is eventually you'll look forward to calling 3 clients or doing 10 burpees because it means you get to read the latest sports news or check Facebook. He gave Facebook as the reward in this situation. Doing the thing you need to do means you get to do the things you want to do. Engineering a truly irresistible habit is a hard task, but this simple strategy can be employed to make nearly any habit more attractive than it would be otherwise. Say to yourself, I need to get into the habit of fill in the blank. Look at your time blocking, look at your calendar, look at your schedule. Do you struggle to go to the gym or exercise or go for that walk after dinner? Think about your own life, how you can use this bundling to mix the reward with the mundane, right? So make it attractive. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it's to become habit forming. Habits are dopamine-driven feedback loop. When dopamine rises, so does our motivation to act, whether it's good or bad. It is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. The greater the anticipation, the greater the dopamine spike. Temptation bundling is one way to make your habits more attractive. The strategy is to pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. In the next episode, we are going to discuss the role your family, your friends, your environment play in your habits. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you like the show, share it with somebody you know. Maybe share it with a little sales team, maybe your business partner. Maybe discuss this book in more detail. What processes, systems are going through your life at this point in time. You need to change because you're looking to the future, a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. Think back 5 years ago. What could have you done differently back then that would have been different for your life right now? I can think a lot right off the top of my head for me. So much to think about. That's why we're doing it chapter by chapter, because the state of overwhelm is just too much to take in. And I am looking forward to seeing you